guess it's just good to be back, man.
You know what? Yeah. It's good to be back.
It's good to be
Life's
back.
Life's taken a hold of us, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that we can come back to the chair.
Like literally, a small child has taken hold of me.
That's true. That's true.
Hey everyone, welcome back to From the Vault podcast. It's your boy Dylan and
Trent, hello everyone.
Yes, and behind the cameras is lovely Connor.
Yo.
Thanks, Connor.
Thanks, Connor. We love you here.
We're back. We're back for From the Vault as a podcast. Obviously, we've left it quite long.
Yeah.
That's because life happens.
It does. It gets in the way, doesn't it?
It does. We've got plenty of stuff happening around the store. Store kind of had a moment where we needed to dial things back a touch.
It's true.
And then my wife and I had a baby girl. So
Congratulations.
Yay. So yeah, anyway, we're back into it now.
Yeah.
Chatting about everything, board gaming, tabletop, news, how that reflects from us as store owners, store workers,
And players
and
primarily.
players, part of the community. Yeah. We're here because we love it.
Yes.
Right?
And, I want to say as well, thank you to everyone who's been bugging me to get back into the podcast.
Yes.
A lot of people have been like, come on, where's the podcast happening, Trent? So we're back.
We're
and
back.
hopefully for the foreseeable future as well, we're looking to
Yes.
get... Yeah.
So make sure you like the video and then subscribe to the channel. Press that button, get
And
the
ring
bell
that
on to get
bell.
notified every time a new video goes live here on From the Vault.
We love you guys, and we love when you do that. It costs you
and-
nothing and helps us out a lot.
Yeah, and leave a comment. You know, what do you want to hear? What do you want to hear our two white guys' opinions on?
Yeah, right? Like, definitely. And obviously, if you're a white guy with an opinion, or anyone for that matter, then drop in the comments.
in the
If you
comments.
talk about something and you want to talk about it, drop in the comments. We want to hear from you, and we want to talk back to you as well. So.
We're very well aware of who we are and what we're doing.
Yeah.
But there won't be any discussions of crypto.
Yeah, thank goodness. Am I
Thank
right?
goodness.
Yeah. I know, I'm sorry.
But anyway,
we don't,
gyms.
We don't do MetaZoo here.
We don't do MetaZoo
That's correct.
for good reason.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's have a chat about some stuff.
Yeah, what's been
obviously,
exciting?
Look, the big thing that obviously that we love the most, that we keep talking about in our personal lives as well, and because that's so much about our work, is Magic the Gathering.
Of course. Premium store. It's a big deal for us.
Big deal for us. We have the singles website that Trent manages. We both are involved in the Hardcast MTG channel as well, doing Commander gameplay and talking about Commander a lot. We play Pauper EDH at Netherworld.
now, yeah, we're supporting Netherworld and doing
It's-
more with that as well around
Yeah.
the corner too. So stay tuned for that.
We love Magic. So
In
let's
all
talk about
forms.
where Magic's at right now.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So what's new? Since we last left off, it's a lot because the years start coming and they don't stop coming.
Rip.
Yeah, sorry. Bless
Bless
up.
up.
I think that Lord of the Rings has been huge.
Lord of the
That's
Rings has been massive.
insane. It's not only taken over Modern, which is designed for. It's taken over other formats as well. Like we've seen it in Legacy. We've seen stuff in Commander, obviously.
Yep.
In this kind of world where most sets are designed for the format they're for, and then secondary for Commander. Lord of the Rings again feels like a product designed primarily, I think, for Commander. With some cards having stapled on abilities or stapled on things that help them work in Modern. Obviously, the One Ring.
Yep.
I think, and everyone, that's kind of like the big elephant in the room for that set. That's been super impactful in Modern. One of the best cards to impact that format recently. Well, one of the biggest, I should say.
Yeah, and it's very interesting, like hearing people talk about it in Commander aspects as well. A lot of people putting it into their CEDH decks, the competitive decks.
Yeah, definitely.
But me personally, as a player, I've just been like, I don't know if I want to play it. Like
I find that if I'm interacting with it, I want to play it. It's in my Tekrithal deck because you put the counters on it and then
Yep.
you proliferate those counters. That's obvious interaction. Very, very good. I think if you're in any kind of white or red kind of deck or both, I think you want to play it. Because again, you want to play it mostly for that card draw engine it kind of offers you for a fairly cheap price, and kind of in the background, not so much for the protection. I think in CDH, you're looking at it for the protection.
the protection, yeah, that are really and the speed at which you can get it out is insane.
Especially with Wilds of Eldraine releasing Beseech the Mirror.
Yes.
Being able to bargain that and then cast the One Ring for free.
Yep.
Well, for free, for the price of Beseech the Mirror from your deck. So it's adding another copy of that card to your deck in CDH.
Which
or
is
in
essentially
other
the same
formats.
price. Because
Yeah.
isn't Beseech the Mirror 2 and 2 black?
It's 1/3 black. But
One
yes,
and 3
it's
black.
essentially the
yeah,
same.
it's 4 mana. In a mono
Exactly.
black deck, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same price.
Imagine Kurik, right?
Yeah.
It's 1 and 6 life for
Yep.
the One Ring from your deck. In a card that you couldn't originally spend life to cast, unlike most black cards, it's obviously colorless, so you're not able to do that in Kurik. So all of a sudden, Kurik players rise up. Your deck was already very good. It's gotten a lot better. And you're very often going to have some kind of artifact, enchantment, or token to sacrifice for the bargain. Because maybe those who don't know, Wilds of Eldraine, that's the mechanic. It's just like this card we're talking about, Beseech the Mirror. It's a diabolic tutor, but you can sacrifice a card, a token, an artifact, or an enchantment to kind of get a CMC 4 or less card that you search and cast it for free. It exiles it, and then whether or not you choose to cast it on the spot, it puts itself into your hand no matter what.
Yeah, so it still
Connor,
searches it
pull
up.
that one up, Connor. Beseech the Mirror. While we talk about it, I think most of you listening will know about the One Ring. It's been all over Magic's news, but Beseech the Mirror is quite new, so I think we should bring that one up and talk about it while we're here. So it's a very powerful card.
Yeah, look, just another Diabolic Tutor is fine, but giving it that bargain aspect and casting it for free, essentially casting whatever you're searching up for free.
Yeah, well,
because it's 4 mana for I'm going to play this one thing for my deck.
Well, because it's CMC 4 or less, right? If you're playing a 4 mana card, it's going to be like free. It's literally going to be the card that's free.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're still getting a discount. For example, like if you search for a 3 CMC card, right? So like an opposition agent, for example, right? If you search that with Demonic Tutor, which is a mainstay of the format, it costs you 2 and then 3. That's going to cost you 5 mana. This is still going to be a discount on that card.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's huge. I think that's very important. Unless you're looking for that card to flash out later, maybe. That's very, very important. So Beseech the Mirror, very, very powerful. Obviously, you can go through things like Dockside. It doesn't care what kind of card you're going for. I think Beseech the Mirror is almost a problem in Commander. I think it's almost like too good in that space, just because obviously it's so. The 3 black is something to talk about. We should mention, but it is very powerful in Commander, and I think that in CDH it's a no-brainer to be playing Beseech the Mirror.
Particularly when you're looking at having Urborg in as a mainstay of any deck that's basically running black now anyway, so you can get that power out of the mono black cards who all care about having black mana to cast things, or having like a lot of mana that care about swamps. When you're looking at Urborg, Cabal Coffers as a staple like combo, that even in a 2 or to an extent a 3 color deck, Beseech the Mirror is still playable.
Well, even like if you're in CDH, right, your fixing is already probably guaranteed for you anyway. Just like in Golgari, if you got Bayou, like that's gonna be a black card. If you got your all your shocks, all your fetches, even without the Urborg and the Cabal Coffers, which absolutely valid, like that's gonna help a lot. I don't think you'll have problems. And especially in the context of things like Dockside, where you're going to just make lots of treasures in those decks. So you're going to have access to lots of colored mana that you need. So I think that's really important to mention.
Well, that brings up like the other side of it too. Like Wilds of Eldraine came out in that time as well. So we've had Lord of the Rings, which, honestly, from the power level perspective, I thought Lord of the Rings was a knockout of the park. Like it was brilliant. It was a fun set to play, limited, sealed. I don't give a shit. It was fun to play. The commander decks on their own are fun. The legendary creatures they added to the pool are a lot of times a really great twist on stuff.
Yeah. Food Matters was huge.
Food Matters was huge. I'm still playing my Abzan Bilbo deck now.
It's great. It's cool.
It's good fun. It's really good fun. And then we've got Wilds of Eldraine that came out just last week when we're recording this.
Yep.
It is also a really fun set.
It's great.
Throne of Eldraine was a great set as well, so I'm not surprised that Wilds of Eldraine was also great. But the mechanics they've added are not too harsh to understand. The flavor is just oozing out of the set with all the fairy tale stuff.
Yep.
I think it's a really fun set to have, a really fun set to play. Again, it added a lot of really great legendaries into the commander formats. Also, some of those are in the uncommon slots as well.
I was going to mention that. I think both sets at a common and uncommon level are also incredible.
Yes.
Because I really do believe that, talking about, Lorien Revealed was a card that's now seeing play in Legacy Delver.
Yep.
And it's seeing play in Modern. It's, taken over Pauper. Lembas Spread, the card Lembas, has also taken over Pauper. I've seen it all the way through. I think, Boros Synthesizer is the only deck I've seen that doesn't always play it. Every other deck I've seen just plays it. It's so good. Sorry, that was just called Lembas. Yeah, my bad. So that's a great example where that hugely impactful card. So I think at that level, and I wanted to say as well, Wilds of Eldraine, I think part of what makes Wilds of Eldraine so cool is that it translates so well from Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
In the sense that Lord of the Rings is a kind of set that has
it's like a high fantasy,
but mechanically it's also about things like food. It's about things like it's a mass. It generates tokens, right? And then the biggest mechanic, bargain, cares about having tokens.
Yeah.
So, that's huge.
So it's almost like these sets were, even though Wilds of Eldraine is a standard set and Lord of the Rings is a modern set,
exactly.
Both of these sets have now stepped through in a line for commander players to see as well.
And what did Lord of the Rings do except bring hundreds of thousands of people possibly into the game Magic and bring them in and
into Commander
primarily because obviously that's where people are pushing them. These people aren't playing Modern, sorry Wizards. These people are playing Commander, and you knew that. So having them then have this amazing set of Wilds of Eldraine to then build from.
Yeah.
Sorry, build into from Lord of the Rings. It's just really helpful. It signposts a lot of ways to build their decks.
People aren't playing Dimir Nazguls in Modern.
No. They're definitely playing more of the Nazgul in Commander.
In Commander,
Woo!
yeah.
And the new, obviously, Trent, Sauron, the Dark Lord, which is just such a cool commander.
So it's really great. Really great stuff, really great sets. Unfortunately, sandwiched in between them was what I would possibly call the
flounder.
The flounder. And it took a while, but now I'm in full agreement with what you were saying when we first experienced this set was the most egregious lack of thought that Wizards has ever done, which is Commander Masters.
Yeah, Commander Masters, isn't it ironic, right?
Yeah.
I think, so Elephant in the Room, this set sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked.
And look, we love Commander. We're WPN Premium Store. Commander is our bread and butter here, but Commander Masters, holy shit.
Oh my gosh.
That was bad.
It was bad. I think that there was another good example of, and we talk about this on the Cracker Boxes, where, you can't just fill the slots with uncommons and make a bunch of showcase uncommons and think people are going to care. I'm sorry.
Look, I think some of the commons and uncommons were staples that people have difficulty finding. Admittedly, they don't find that difficulty when they're looking at a trading card singles website. You can buy these for really cheap. It just you got to wait. You just got to wait like 3 months before you can get them, particularly in Australia. So that the availability of those cards was really great. Unfortunately, it was sitting behind a price tag that was about 40% higher than it needed to be.
And this is what I was saying and I was preaching when we saw the set first, right? We were getting the first couple of reveals shown off, like Selvala got shown off and we got shown off Yuriko and such. And I was like, these cards are great. I love a Selvala reprint. I love a Yuriko reprint. But there's nothing in these sets that would justify their price point. I think the price point was so high that it doesn't matter what's in them. Because at the end of the day, you are pushing the line of these cards are game pieces on cardboard.
Yeah.
And you are pushing a really, really solid line there where you go, first of all, you're declaring out loud how meticulously you're focusing on the secondary market with these cards. And you're also projecting that these cards are something, right? Magic kind of defines itself by being all the cards are worthless and they're all just cards. And whatever you want to do with them, you can do with them. If you want to give them value, you can. That's what it's all about, right? And this set kind of proved that that's obviously not the case. We always knew that wasn't the case. We knew, they knew, but it was this unspoken kind of situation. And now it feels like right in your face.
Yeah.
We know.
Maybe you should just speak about it, guys. Just admit to it.
Just admit to it, right? Yeah. That's how I kind of feel. And I think that there was some stuff that really got to me, made me very frustrated. Stuff like Kozilek, the Great Distortion from Oath of the Gatewatch. That was in the Eldrazi structure deck.
Yeah.
It was also the only Titan. Well, it was Ulamog in that. It was one of the 2 Titans that was printed in the set.
Yeah.
And it was one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was also the only card in the 4 structure decks that was also printed in the set.
Yes.
That wasn't in a set booster or a collector's extended from the structure decks. It was reprinted directly into that set as well. So no other deck had that, and you had 4 other Titans. Now, obviously, you weren't going to print the Ions Torn because that's banned in Commander.
Yes,
but you had at least 3 other Titans that are hugely impactful in Commander.
Look, Promised End still appears everywhere.
Please, are you kidding me? Why is the Promised End not making it into the set? Yeah. Honestly, I kind of get it for them. Again, I get it for the retail. The secondary market value. But where is the Infinite Gaia? And where is what is the
Caesar Sunga?
No.
Caesar Sunga was in it. Sorry.
That was Ulamog. Kozilek,
Butcher of Truth.
Butcher of Truth. Thank you so much. Where is Butcher of Truth? Where was Butcher of Truth? Where was Infinite Gaia? Those are obviously the mainstay command, the mainstay Eldrazi. And they've had reprints in Double Masters and such, but it's I would prefer them have another reprint. I'd like to see that amazing art of the kind of profiles on those cards, right? Not the kind of derivative Battle of Zendikar versions. And they are expensive, the Battle of Zendikar versions. They're great reprints. I should jump in and say that. I understand
they are great.
That. But then why wasn't Butcher of Truth in the Commander deck?
Yeah.
Why was Great Distortion in both sets?
Look, honestly, the colorless deck didn't feel like an Eldrazi deck at all. It felt we've had this massive discussion with us where it's it only had 8 or 9 Eldrazi in it. True. And every one of those Eldrazi's were apart from I think the Kozilek was and obviously Zul'Adok as well was Zul'Adok's busted.
Zul'Adok's crazy.
But the other Eldrazi in the deck kind of felt like the lesser version of the Eldrazi you would include in an Eldrazi deck anyway. Most of them.
I think so. But I think that's mostly because the Eldrazi you would include in an Eldrazi deck are the Titans.
Oh, the Titans.
And then they didn't have those in there. So it was like, okay, well, what else are you going to do? And it felt like It That Betrays is a great example of one that should have been the deck and was. The new one, I can't remember what the card was called, but it was like the Flayer of Agonies, I want to say maybe it was called. That was a incredible Eldrazi that was like brand new print in the set. So I want to say that's credit where due. And I want to give credit where due as well, where in the testing of the set, Flayer of something maybe? Flayer of, what's this one here?
Flayer of Loyalties.
Loyalties, my apologies. Yeah. That, first of all, that art is amazing. I love that art so much. So nice. But the point being is that I think, and we had a discussion off camera and we'll get into it now, I do think that the fact that Zuludok is Cascade does mean that you're just going to see the Eldrazi a lot.
Yeah.
You might only have 8 or 9 in the deck, but you're going to see them every game, at least 1 or 2. So, and maybe...
if you had those other Titans, they'd be shuffling back in.
Exactly, right? So, I think that they might have tested it and then gone, okay, well, if you put too much Eldrazi in there, then it's just like, it's a very boring loop maybe. Or maybe it's like an unfair thing. But I think there are also like random Eldrazi, like the 5 cost that taps for 2, like the Wayfinder, whatever it's called, would have been quite good, cause like something. Could have been really quite good. But again, I think that, definitely a case where, that one right there, thank you. Channeler, Kozilek's Channeler, thanks Connor. Those cards there, I think that, I do feel like they kind of lost me a bit on the Eldrazi deck. And it is a colorless deck that felt like it was doing very basic things. And I think that it was also, and I get it's Commander Masters, but I think that you also just hit a wall with tribal things where it's like you just had to put a bunch of it in the deck and hope it works. Like the Sliver deck seemed to nail that on the head in the sense they just put a bunch of slivers in the deck.
Yeah, and
but
to be fair, that's slivers though, right? Like you just put a bunch of slivers into a sliver deck and it just kind of works because it's a sliver deck.
But wouldn't you say the same about Eldrazi?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you put a bunch of Eldrazi in the deck and it just works.
Well, the Eldrazi don't really play off each other though, as much as the slivers do.
But if they have Cascade.
Then you just...
And a lot of them but like Scions, right?
Yeah.
Like
making
Eldrazi Scions and such.
I felt like there wasn't a lot of Scion stuff in that deck either.
I think that fits in the Eldrazi thing, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think when I say Eldrazi cards, I don't just mean creatures. I mean like cards that care about Eldrazi or are Eldrazi themselves.
Or creating the Eldrazi Scions that you can tap to bring in the more mana.
Yeah.
A lot of that deck was like just the classic colorless ramp shell.
Yeah, and I feel like...
Which was kind of like... I mean, there are Eldrazi versions of these cards that you can push into.
Exactly.
That you can have more fun with, but...
I think there was that Umathus, which was the manifest cares.
The ghost Naga one. Thing, yeah.
Yeah, the Naga. Umathus, I think, was a good example of... again, it was this design, this kind of more classic... I'm getting his name wrong, look at that. He was a good classic example of like these decks where, and this is like true like 2016, 2017, 2018, these kind of decks that had sub-commanders.
Yeah.
And they were like not doing what the main deck did. Even in Nuka Penna, we saw with like the Orzhov deck that had Tibbet, Seller of Secrets, they're doing different things. They're Omathus, right?
Omathus,
yeah. Not Umathus, there we go. My apologies.
Wrong vowel,
there we go. So I'm not perfect, everyone, I'm sorry. I think it's a good example. It's like, this kind of just doesn't do anything this deck wants to do if it's an Eldrazi deck. And all it does is give you another cool colorless commander. But like, if you're going to put a bunch of cards in the set like Ugin's Mastery, like that's another new card that cares about manifesting. Like, it's not going to gel well with your colorless creature deck. And
I felt like it was really frustrating because it kind of felt like those cards were the reason why we have set booster specific commander cards.
Yep.
Where, these cards don't appear in the set. They're from the commander decks. There's like 10 of them, and then they're just put into the set boosters and collector boosters anyway. Like, those are the kind of things that we should be doing with those cards now.
Exactly. And we saw that in Wilds of Eldraine with the new Korvold and the new guy that cares about food golems, the Bant food commander, the Bant gingerbread man, or gingerbread chef, I should say. And yeah, that's right. Like, that's the kind of stuff you would see. But... this is a good example of, you would see this in like the new Tarkia set boosters. Oh, you get this random manifest guy as like a commander, even though he's not in the decks. And it's like, why put him in this deck? Why muddle the pie so much? At least,
which is really frustrating too, because these decks, I felt like these decks, look, good and bad of Commander Masters. I felt like these decks were really synergistic, much more than previous Commander pre-con product has been.
That's definitely valid.
In the same vein of but on the flip side of that, the only other decks that I have to compare to when it comes to that synergistic build are the starter decks, which are like half the price.
Exactly.
Because the starter decks can only afford to do one thing because they're so budget. Otherwise, they just wouldn't work, right? And
yet they almost compare.
Yeah,
in fact, they do
with
compare.
they do compare. You can put all 4 starter decks on a table and have pretty much the same enjoyable experience as putting the 4 Commander Masters decks on the table because they are doing that synergistic. Those synergistic elements within their own decks quite well, and they play off each other like in a pretty straightforward fashion.
Yeah.
So that kind of element. Whereas the pre-con commanders of old are like, we're all just going to sit here for half an hour while we figure out what the hell is going on with our deck, and then okay, cool, I get this now. Maybe someone wins.
Yeah, definitely. I think
after like 2.5 hours.
I think the command design team was definitely like getting their footing, probably all the way up to about the 2017 as we start to see like the tribal decks first appear, with probably like 14 and the experience counters decks probably being like the start of that kind of coming into play, but really showing their teeth when it came to 2017. But 2017 is a good example of this, where it's like. And I landed on this a bit earlier, but didn't quite build upon my own point where I mentioned you kind of hit a wall with tribal, where it's like, it almost feels cheap though. Because like, you're comparing a decks that are like, it's like Imara, one of the structure decks, is all about creating tokens. It's caring about having tokens, which is a very generic thing. You've got Cardo Doomscourge, which is all about like burning out your opponents and giving them a bit of card advantage, but also making them attack each other. And it still feels like it works in that format. But then you've got, Geaster and Geralth, which is zombie tribal.
Yeah.
And then you look at these decks, which is Planeswalker Tribal, Sliver Tribal,
Enchantment Tribal.
In before, that's not a creature type, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like Planeswalker Tribal, you got Slivers, Eldrazi, and of course Enchantments, like you said. It almost feels like, of course, they're synergistic because they just landed on one thing and very like specific thing, like a thing that has a very defined identity and says this is how it works. And the way you said, but you just put every sliver in the deck and it's a deck. It's like, that sliver's like identity. So it's not hard to do. It's like, it's almost felt like it was an excuse for them to pretend that the Chandelier slivers from M14 never happened. That's what the Sliver Swarm deck felt like it was an excuse to do, where it's like, no, we never made Predator slivers. We promised.
What are you talking about?
I don't know about those. They all look like the cool ant guys, you remember, right? Let's not talk about that.
Yeah. Anyway, here's a sliver from Amonkhet.
Yeah. Unpopular opinion. I really like the Chandelier slivers. Unpopular opinion. I actually like when I really got into slivers around the time of M14, M15 during that 1 month block in September where you could play both sets for standard, and I had like Hive Lord and Mana Weft in the same deck. Like, shout out in the chat if you remember that format. It was horrible for everyone else.
I feel kind of disappointed that they also got on Twitter, because I'm never going to call it its new name. The Magic Vorthos guys got on Twitter and basically said, the slivers in the sliver deck are not canon. You're like, no, get lost. The Embalm sliver, was it not the Embalm? The other mechanic Amass. No, was it Amass? Yeah, it was Amass.
That's the Amonkhet sliver.
Amonkhet sliver.
Amass slivers.
Amass slivers. The Amonkhet Dreadhorde sliver is like the best canon element of this whole thing.
That's so not true.
That implies that the slivers are multiplanar.
Yeah, like, but it more... Okay, but... Look,
Think about it.
We're going to get on this now. You started this.
Slivers are Eldrazi. Let's go.
Okay, look, I don't mind Slivdrazi monstrosity. I don't mind slivers when they take something that's real. Like, okay. So the reason why they look like the way they did in Chandelier was because Hive Lord was stranded on there during like a time crisis thing, Planar Chaos thing. He got stranded there. And then Chandelier is a plane that's World Soul is like literally like conscious and alive. Like it can speak to you through nature. And then it actually found the Hive Lord and took pity on it. And the Hive Lord's progeny, Chandelier, actually physically like grew and worked with. That's why they had this human-like or almost elf-like stuff, because it's mostly Chandelier with a little touch of Sliver, right? But like, how did the Lazotep zombies even come into being? It was because Nicol Bolas, right, like took in these warriors and like shredded them of all their skin and replaced their bones with Lazotep. It was like an active process.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, right, that during the trials, like, Nicol Bolas wanted...
No. Nicol Bolas found a sliver on Amonkhet, was like, I wonder what this does.
Do you think Nicol Bolas was like, I wonder what this does? Nicol Bolas definitely knows what slivers
are. If it's like if it's evil shit, Nicol Bolas is there.
Yeah, but like he knows what slivers are, surely. It's Nicol Bolas, right? He traveled the multiverse.
Absolutely.
It's like he would know what it is. But if he had a sliver, why wouldn't he just like make an army of slivers? It just like it makes his whole like army redundant, right? It's like that's what I don't like about it. It's like if you can, and also by the way,
you're talking about the guy that just like lost because the woman that he had a contract with like went against him.
Look, that's a long story. All right? I get that. Look, I'm not saying Wallace Buck's a good book. All right, what I'm saying is that this sliver,
Damn you, Gideon.
But the sliver is also amassing. That's like its mechanic, right?
Yeah.
So by definition,
so were the zombies he made.
No, I understand that. I'm saying because that's the Lazotep thing. I get that. It's the Amonkhet thing. What I'm saying, right, is that. That's like implying that this sliver is all about making more slivers, right? The same way Nicobolus made a bunch of zombie like soldiers, right? So if this sliver can make a bunch of slivers, or at least like is about an army of slivers, the whole point is that it's like an army of slivers. Why didn't he have an army of slivers?
Are you telling me that Nicobolus does not have the hubris to experiment on a thing and then be like, I'm sure it'll be fine, and not go back and go, up on that
sure,
one.
but where were they in the War of the Spartans? Is what I'm saying. Like, you're right. I'm not disagreeing. Well, this is a very Nicobolus thing.
They couldn't get out of the tomb.
No, what are you talking? They couldn't get out of the tomb. Why were they in a tomb? He didn't put any of the other Eternals in a tomb.
Nicobolus went, oh shit, what did I do wrong here?
he realized he locked it away. He's like, this is beyond my control.
Even I can't control this.
That's so funny.
You know what? That's actually why he wanted to become a god, was because he accidentally unleashed an army of Lazotep slivers.
Okay. All right, you know what? Like, I can get behind the whole, like, no, he...
Why are you looking up Tomb Raider?
This is exactly what's happening. This is
Tomb Raider, Lara Croft sliver.
Yeah, Lara Croft walks in and she goes, I hate tombs. And the sliver, like, kills her. Anyway, the point is...
Okay, let's go back to what we were actually discussing.
Yes. But look, I was less upset... Okay, I was less upset that the Lazotep sliver was not canon than I was that Zuladoc was canon. That was more upsetting.
Yeah,
that Zuladoc was canon. Like, they made clear for like years that there were 3. And that's why we don't have any other legendary Eldrazi. There were 3.
But Zuladoc isn't a Titan.
No, he's not a Titan, but then how is he legendary? Think about that.
He's a manifestation of Ulamog that the Blood Chiefs accidentally willed into existence.
Sorry, guys. Hey, listening to yourself. What do you mean?
Look, I've been doing a deep dive on Zendikar lore.
Yeah,
all right?
I know. But I know how he... Look, I understand what happened with Zuladoc and what they wrote to make him exist. But like...
yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? It's like, Ulamog has this spawn, and I think that's fine, but it just doesn't make sense to me that this spawn is like conscious and like...
But let's go back to talking about the set that we are now officially like 3 months too late to talk about.
Consciously, yeah.
Consciously. Goods, the decks were fine when you played them together. Obviously, every commander deck kind of feels balanced, but this was actually like a solid, quick game of fun to play together rather than the 2.5-hour battle cruiser that most precons have. I was actually surprised at how fast Commander Guff gets up.
Yeah, he's strong.
It took a few plays to get it into that space to understand how it works, but it does. I can see the line of, oh, I'm like one turn away from just having too many planeswalkers to deal with right now.
And I think that's the problem with Guff as well, that I feel like it's so important to consistently interact with that deck. It's so important to go to everyone at the table like, hey, you need to swing at the planeswalkers. Which is kind of
detrimental, because it feels like it's the whole argument about Kalia the Vast, right?
Yeah.
The difference between Kalia the Vast and the Kalia that came out in Core 2021, where I sat there and argued with people for ages, going, the new Kalia is a better Kalia, and the reason why it's a better Kalia is because you actually get to play the game
in a casual setting, right?
Yeah,
because you're not playing like a spiky game. I think it's like Kalia, the original Kalia, can do better. It has a much higher ceiling. We can't argue that.
Yeah,
but because of that ceiling, you will never get to resolve it in a real pod.
Yeah.
Right? Because people will have to spot remover, they'll have to have interaction ready and going, and Teferi's protections are everywhere now. Everyone seems to have one. They're going to stop you in some way, shape, or form. I've seen more and more people playing Fogs. Your mileage may vary, but I've seen a lot of Fogs. You know, things are going to happen. They're going to try and stop you in any way they can, right? And I think it's a good example of Kalia being that kind of deck.
That's the old detriment of Commander Guff, is the deck kind of runs almost a bit too quickly.
Yeah.
But then again, we're playing with high-powered decks.
Speaking of that, you said something earlier that I want to combat just a little bit, right? You said something earlier where you said the 4 decks together are great for like a game of Magic and have a fun time if you have the 4 set of decks, and they're quite a quick experience. You can get a couple of games in. It's no longer like a 2.5-hour slog, right?
Yeah.
But here's my question to you, right? At $124.99 Australian per deck.
That's fair,
right?
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Is that a good thing?
No. Is it worth it? No.
Is it worth it? No. Well, no. I understand it's not worth it. We can establish that, right? That's not even a question. Is it a good thing that the decks are so aggressive and the games end sooner? Because, especially if you're talking about these older games, because I remember, like, I don't want to sound like an old fart here and say Commander was better back in the day. That, pre-DH is a format that was coming up. By like Sheldon Menery as well, bless up. Yeah. Sheldon Menery as well
thanks, big man.
Thank you so much for everything. Was pioneering so much because those 2.5-hour games, at least at times, that kind of feels like Commander to me. That kind of feels like the game I kind of signed up for. I love a quick game when it's valid. I like a game when I'm playing with mates and somebody just goes like, I'm able to win, can I win here? And we always go, yeah, of course. And then we all go back to what else we need to do. Maybe it's like, maybe we only have about an hour and a half to do something. But when I have the afternoon, when I say, hey, it's 3 p.m., we're playing till midnight, right? I definitely want a good, big, chunky, visceral game.
Yeah.
I don't want 7 quick games. I want to have a nice, long, chunky game.
My question to that then is, were the games you played with out-of-the-box pre-cons previously that were those 2.5-hour games, were they actually the kind of visceral, chunky games? Or were they actually, if you broke it down, you were spending an hour of that 2.5 hours just kind of waiting to draw something to play?
Well, I agree. No, you know what? I totally agree. I think that is almost, without any offense, I think it's almost moving the goalposts of the these decks argument, right? The command master argument. But I do agree. I think that this is definitely a step. These decks are better than what we saw in 2016, right?
Yeah.
Well, 2016, was that that's the Healy Rye era, wasn't it? So 2016, was that those decks?
Yes.
I want to say that was the Planeswalker decks,
2016 was the Planeswalker decks.
You know what? I don't think those decks were like that. I think those decks were chunky and visceral, if I remember.
Yes, those
Lord
were.
Windgrace,
Those
Estrid, Saheeli Rye, and... Tip of my brain's the tip of my brain, and I can't remember what the deck was. What's that?
No, Savin was the 2018.
Yeah. 2016 was the 4-color decks.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay, so first of all, I think in 2016 those decks were chunky and they had those. I did think there were some games with those 2016 decks though where we were just looking to draw stuff.
Yeah.
Especially the Atraxa Precon, which was a great deck but had a lot of stuff to do to it.
Yeah.
I think Saskia was a little bit like aggro, but
Saskia was fun because a lot of it had it was really cheap. It was like, when I say cheap, I mean like fiscally cheap, not mana cheap, but fiscally cheap. It was just like a lot of cheap, like fun, constant threats, but not like it was a build threat kind of thing. So you were playing Battlecruiser.
Yeah, wasn't K&T like the ultimate like crazy big bomb burn the whole board deck?
K&T, I got to think about K&T. This is a little bit of a story for
story time
with Dylan. Put it
up
up,
the graphic.
The graphic up. K&T was one of the hardest sells of a deck I've ever had to do. Right, from a product perspective, it was early days for the store, and we had all 5 decks, and K&T was the one that was sitting there. Until one person walked into our Commander night one night, and I was warning people because I'd played against K&T before. Someone walked into our Commander night with a K&T precon, like unmodified, and they blew the board with treacherous terrain.
Yeah.
Every time someone's like, oh, K&T shit, I'm not going to buy this one. I'm like, hey, you need to look at the back of that box. Because right there, treacherous terrain, that one card alone
does a lot of work.
Sold that deck for so many people, and then we couldn't keep it in stock.
But then it's one of those things where it's like, you can have all your big draw and play your extra lands with K&T because it had the biggest cards in the whole precon set.
Yeah, and it was like, everyone's just like, we're going to make some land. Everyone got some land. Yeah, let's tempt with, this was the tempt with Discovery era. This was the tempt era as well with those cards. So everyone's putting out lots of land, and then K&T players just like, oh, hey, everyone. So here's, everyone's going to take damage equal to the number of lands they control. Everyone's going to, you over there, you have more life than everyone. So you're going to take damage equal to the number of lands you control.
Yeah, that kind of
and then we're just going to Magma Quake for whatever remains with all of my lands.
Yeah, and there's 15 more damage. I was going to say as well, Oath of Druids.
The card Oath of Druids has got to be one of the hardest reads of any Magic card I've ever bought.
It's like a modern Chains of Mephistopheles, isn't it? It's like, what? What is happening here?
But yeah, that era was good. I would say it bordered on the Slugfest.
Was it 2018? Sorry, then because 2017 was the Tribals. 2017 was Tribals.
Oh, 2017 was Tribals. 2018 was the Planeswalkers.
Yeah, so 2018 was Planeswalkers, right?
So was that Amanatu?
Was 2018 the type ones?
No, 2019 was the types.
Okay.
2014 was also a Planeswalker set, I believe.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Because it had the 5 monocolored Planeswalkers.
2014?
2014 or 2015.
Which one was Experience? Look, it turns out we don't know anything about this timeline.
We don't know nothing.
Turns out the timeline is like not what I'm good at.
Yeah, Exquisite Iteration, I think it was. 2019?
Is that, 2019 then? Damn, see, you get
Look,
this deep
it is
into
just...
The years stop coming and they don't stop coming, dude. Start coming, they don't stop coming, sorry. 2019 is... No, this is the Faceless Menace.
Oh, Morph.
This is the type of... This is
the ability.
Ability type thing, yeah. This is like the flashback, morph. So
that was a slog.
So 2018?
This was the year that gave us Dockside.
This is the year they gave us yeah.
That was the
Because
Dockside,
they put
yeah.
Treasure Nabber in the Sahili deck in the year before, and everyone's
That's
like,
right.
Treasure Nabber's awesome.
This is gonna
and
be
then
the
next
new
year they
thing.
go Dockside. I'm like,
They were like,
I don't
you
want
know-
to play with you anymore.
Yeah, Treasure Nabber didn't do what we needed to do.
So yeah, that brings us back to the Commander Masters thing as well, because we're going on a rant.
Treasure Nabber.
Treasure Nabber. All right.
Commander Masters,
Commander
bro.
Masters, here's the other side of it, right? Confluences. Reprint of the Confluences. Cool.
Dude, who plays the Confluences?
No one plays them anymore, but whatever, right?
Dude, my Cascade deck cares about those. I play those in my Yidris deck because they have large mana costs for no reason. Oh, you know what?
But-
the red Confluences play in Torbrand because
Yep.
the modes... Anyway, sorry.
So
I'm
the
making
Confluence,
excuses,
whatever.
people.
But you added the Ur-Dragon, but you didn't add
Edgar
Markov.
Markov.
You didn't add
Edgar
Arabo.
Markov. Oh my
Arabo
God.
War of the Wild, the quintessential white-green cat commander.
Yep.
And you didn't add the Wizard commander.
Yes. Inala.
Inala.
Dude, how easy is a sell for the Arabo commander in the Commander Master set? Like a profile of a cute like lion cat thing? Dude, it's so easy. Like people
You didn't
would
even put
foam at the mouth for that.
Sorry, talk about cat commanders. You didn't even reprint Wasatoru.
Yeah, no Wasitoru, no.
There are mounds of fantastic commander printed only cards.
Garvey Nest Warden. You know what? Why wasn't every single printed commander in the set? That's how the set should have started. I
Yeah.
said this earlier. That's how the set should have started.
Every
It should
single
have been-
face commander
every
should be
single
reprinted.
face commander should have
Cadenus
reprinted.
Linking Sorcerer, a lot of fun.
Yeah, you know what? Give every single commander that you've printed as a face commander a profile. Reprint the Elder Dragons. Give them a profile. Everything else is secondary.
You know what? Not even
Everything
not even
else.
just the face commanders. Reprint the secondary commanders as well.
Of course, but maybe don't give them the profile. That could be the big deal.
Ooh.
You know,
You
they
can have
come in
another
whatever. Etched foil. Yeah, give them,
Tana Bloodsoul or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Even
cool.
the single color Planeswalker decks from the days of yore.
yeah, like the Teferi and the
Frailes.
They
Omnixilis, the
reprinted
Frailes.
those, I believe.
Oh,
They did
They
reprint those.
reprinted the five commanders,
Yeah.
those 5 Planeswalker commanders, because obviously we don't have those anymore.
No, but we don't get any like they don't have any like unique variant except
think-
for like etched maybe.
Yeah, they just
No,
etched.
are
That was
they
it. It was just etched foil. Yeah,
Oh,
I think
I didn't know
I
they
think
were
the
etched.
only one out of that is Teferi still played occasionally.
Frailes is fine.
Fraley's pops up as one of the 99
Yeah.
a lot, but not so much.
Yeah, I see. I don't know. Not much, but very. I mean, like, I think people play it for the fact that it's very flexible, destroy artifact or enchantment, make
Yeah.
dorks. So I do see people playing her as a good elf commander, but I think people also realize that like
Marwyn's much better.
And well, you know, they hit a wall where they go, if I'm already playing elf tribal, I'm going to play the stronger deck.
Yeah.
And I think that some
Yeah.
decks are good to play as a weaker variant, but it's like playing Tivit, Seller of Secrets, and not playing Time Civ. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? So I think Frailes is a deck that I see a
So,
lot.
yeah.
But yeah, you know,
Yeah,
either way.
so we got all the Confluences, we got all the face commanders from the 2015.
Oh, let's not forget Duretti.
Yeah,
Duretti does see a
Duretti-
lot of play.
Duretti,
Scrap
sorry,
does see a lot of
yes,
play.
Duretti
Again,
does.
in the 99 though, and I
In the
agree with
99.
Fraley's more in the 99, yeah. Whereas, you know what?
And
Teferi hasn't existed in CDH at all and barely sees play, so I don't even think that's a valid reprint.
Yeah.
I think we're reaching to assume that even Teferi sees play, because Teferi Veil has been a deck for many years.
That's true.
It doesn't
That's
compete
true.
in this format at all.
So you printed stuff that didn't need a reprint from the
Correct.
commander decks,
Correct.
from commander cards, under what I assume is the guise of, well, they were in the commander product, but you didn't reprint the stuff that actually needed reprints.
Correct.
And I don't care that you reprinted 4 of those 5 4-color commanders as Streets of New Capenna like secret layers. You still didn't print my boys K&T.
Dude, and again...
I'm talking to you, wizards.
Talking right at you. But even then, it's like, why is it? I always find this to be so ridiculous to me. It's like a secret layer is and I hear this a lot, and I'm not trying to blame you for anything you're saying here, but like to say that like, oh, but they were printed in a secret layer, like that has any weight on their reprintable value. Like has any weight. A secret layer is a limited time thing that most people across the world can't access, whereas Commander Masters was a mass-produced product.
For a large portion of time,
sorry.
Australians couldn't access them without paying 3 times as much. Stop it.
Stop at you. Anyway, dude, I totally agree. And it's like, gosh, if you're going to make it cost 3 times as much, give it the unique stuff. Like, just put, I can't stress enough. It is apps, you know what? And again, I open with this, I'm going to end, closing statement, like opening statement, closing statement. Even if they had put every face commander, the Elder Dragons, Dockside, all the Fierce Guardianship stuff, which they did reprint, good on them, Deadly Relic, that kind of stuff. Even if they put all of those in the set, how can you justify the price?
Yeah.
Even if all of that was in the set.
Yep.
They would have to reprint Sliver Queen and I'm still hitting a wall. I know that's a reserve list card, and I know what the problems with that can be, but you would have to literally abolish the reserve list and print those cards in the set, and you're still, for me, hitting a wall on the price.
Yeah.
And then I would go, okay, I get it. You know, maybe the price of the set is taking into consideration the court fees of abolishing the reserve list, and they're paying our lawyers to abolish the reserve list. Like, maybe that's going into the price, but nothing was. And also, by the way, quality control wasn't great on the set either.
No.
It was fine. The cards look good when they look good. Sometimes they're horribly miscut. You know what? And we talk about this. You know what the best part I'm going to talk about? I've said all negative stuff. I'll say a positive thing. The downshifts. The most positive thing about Commander Masters was how much Pauper EDH we've got now. Oh my gosh. So, Dread Return in Pauper EDH.
Yeah,
let's go. That's huge.
Akiri, Fearless Voyages, like being able to play Boris like equipment solidly in Pauper EDH. One of the things I did when I was off with the new baby was I made an Akiri deck and then just purchased it all. Like,
straight through.
I can do this now.
Yes.
I can play Boris equipment.
Damn, it's almost like you bought a bunch of cheap Commander Master stuff from the secondary market and didn't buy it out of packs, because that's
crazy.
insane. Crazy. And I think that's like the craziest part, that all the coolest stuff is downshifts. We can say, Connor? Oh, sorry. I thought you were about to say something earlier. My apologies, mate. But yeah, so I think that for me, that's the best part of the set. And you know what? It's a great part of the set. Like, we opened a bunch of products. I gleamed out a bunch of the commons and such.
Didn't we all?
I
got a lot of the uncommon legendaries, just kind of like,
took a small stack of those. I built a bunch of decks for that.
I will cut in here for a second. Just going off the discussion, Lord of the Rings, Commander Masters, and Wilds of Eldraine have been some of the most crazy things for Pauper EDH, or just Pauper in general. Like, the level of power in common slot at the moment is a touch above what it used to be.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Good bats in common.
Oh,
I saw this actually in a podcast recently. I shout out to the Play to Win podcast, right, where they talk about winning a CDH. I was listening to their podcast. I love those guys, and they learned something really interesting where it's like, Wilds of Eldraine, maybe not so much for Lord of the Rings, but to a degree, because modern. Wilds of Eldraine, damn, that is a power crept set.
Yep.
It's not like cards are all broken, and from an overall external format, they're probably fine. There's some good cards, there's some stinkers, it's whatever. But straight up reprinting divination at instant speed.
I was about to say, that's the best example of that creep is instant speed divination.
Just small
2 and a
things
blue,
like that.
draw 2 cards.
Yep. Small things like that all throughout Wilds of Eldraine just feels like the game is even further picking up. And the game's not in a bad way, like it's too fast, whatever. It still has to fall behind play land and pass. But these cards are so much better. And I think Wilds of Eldraine, and that's part of the reason we're seeing such a huge Pauper experience with these cards getting printed, is that they are, I think, especially at the bottom end, especially for the limited environment, really picking up.
Yeah.
Really picking up.
And they do make the limited and sealed environment a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, especially I played the 5 CMC matters, or 5 mana value, sorry for those at home who might be newer. 5 mana value matters in Wilds of Eldraine pre-release, and that was awesome. And there was a Beanstalk, it's Beanstalk Worm. Yeah, and it's play an additional land as an adventure, and then it's a 5 mana 5/4 reacher. It's 2 cards. It's a 5 mana 5/4 reacher. It's a common. Mm-hmm. Dude, there's a Savannah Lions in the set in Wilds of Eldraine. It's an uncommon mouse. It's called Cheeky House Mouse. Yeah, I think it's literally called Cheeky House Mouse. Pull that one up, Connor. Thank you so much. And Cheeky House Mouse is an adventure Savannah Lions. What's the adventure? Can you read that for us, Connor?
The adventure, Squeak by sorcery. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater this turn.
Dude, what is that? That's an uncommon, and then it's a 1 mana 2/1. And then it's a 1 mana 2/1. That's not insane in the context of Commander or whatever, but that's a good card. I'd play that as my Commander in Pauper EDH.
Yeah,
it's pretty silly. Cheeky House Mouse.
Cheeky Mouse.
Maybe I'll do that. But the point is, dude, just that. Dude, I was talking to a customer today actually about this. Looking at a guy's really old collection. He was this French guy. He's just beautiful, lovely man. We just talked about we actually talked about where he was from, the town he was from, and he talked about a festival where they all dressed in white and had these rosé hats and such, and there was a matador and such, and there's good sides and bad sides to the festival, but he really loved it, and they would it goes for a full week, and everyone takes it off work, everyone in the entire city, and then people travel all throughout France to go visit this place. I can't remember the name of the city, but put in the comments if you know. Shout out. But anyway, not the point. Sorry. And we were talking about he had Force of Analyons. And we were talking about how expensive that card was back in the day and how efficient it was to have a 1-mana 2/1 creature. And I'm like, dude, have you heard of Ragavan? And he was like, because he asked me, he's like, do you think the game's been power crept a little? I was like, no, a lot. Have you seen
Looks at mono black common every set that has
Yeah.
a 1/2 death touch for 1.
Yeah. What's the there's a vampire that's like got a wall of text on him. And he's there's a 1-mana 1/1 death touch lifelinker, Vampire of the New Moon or Vampire of the Dire Moon, whatever. No, what's the one that's like it's a 1-mana 1/1, it's like a vampire. He has like a line of text. He's like gets 1/1, gives himself 1/1 counters for an activated ability. And when your opponent loses life, you can get him from your graveyard or something. I'm trying to remember. There's like a black... It'll come back to me. There's like a mono-black vampire that's insane. And it's just this 1-mana powerhouse. It's just a single black mana. Connor's going to try and bring this up while we chat even further. But anyway, the point is, Gate's crazy. Wilds of Eldraine, great set. Can I say? Yeah, that's... Oh, we talk about this. There's like a bell curve, right? It's like Lord of the Rings, yeah. Commander Nurses, blur. Wilds of Eldraine, yeah. Like, they really get you like that, don't they?
Put on those enchanting tales that should have been printed in Commander Masters.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That the sequels... There it is. Knight of the Ebon Legion. Connor, it's the second down on the middle row. Dude, this card is so much text.
2021?
2021.
I've got like 7 of these.
Dude, he's not that great in general, right? But it doesn't matter how great he is in general. He is a... Is that a 2/2? 3/2? What is he?
He's a 1/2.
A 1/2, sorry. A 1-mana 1/2, which is just great stats. That's a reverse of Analyons. With... it doesn't even matter what he does. He's just a huge line of text.
Yeah.
He's a huge amount of stuff on a 1-mana creature. It's disgusting what that rate looks like. Anyway, maybe one day I build like a commander deck that's like how much text I can fit. Like wordy, like Alexander Clamilton. How many lines of text I can fit on 1-mana cards and play like only 1-mana cards. Like there's that modular creature, the 1-mana Zabaz the Glimmer Wasp. Yeah.
The Boros.
The
Glimmer
Boros.
Wasp,
Yeah. Look at the lines of text on this 1-mana card.
Jesus
even like
Christ.
Kaladesh era. What's the Gyroper, War of Invention?
Yeah.
Gyroper, whatever it's called. Gyroper, yeah, sorry. It's the very bottom left. Right, yes, thank you. Hope Gyroper. The Gyroper is the play strat. Hope Gyroper. I know some of that's flavor text, but yeah. The fog, yeah.
The sack
the
fog.
silence? Silence. If
it
it deals
might be
combat.
silence,
It's like
yeah.
non-creature spells can't be cast. Anyway. Either way, there's a lot of
it's
cards.
crazy.
It's crazy. So yeah, great sets. We love that.
So yeah, let's get back to that thing of like, what are we looking at at the state of Magic right now? So, from a player's perspective, we've gone Lord of the Rings, Commander Masters, Wilds of Eldraine. What are your thoughts?
Okay. Can I say tight-chested?
Yeah.
Exhausted. That's what I'm
Exhausted?
going to say to you. Whiplash.
Whiplash?
Not only is my brain like this. It's like I'm on the top. You know, like when you're at the... Maybe you don't. When you're at the top end of the half pipe and your brain is like, this is where I die and my family will never see me again. For like a moment.
For like a moment.
And then you go back down and you're fine, right? And you're fine. Or you're not, but you're still fine, right? You may have like cracked a rib or something, but you're probably fine. We've all been there. But, you know, I'm at that point now where I'm like, I'm going to die. But instead of seeing the half pipe below me, I get to here and the wizard's is like, would you like to know everything that's happening until 2026?
By the way, here's Jurassic Park.
Sorry, we're going a little bit extra here. Wilds of Eldraine did not have a stand-in. It got the Walking Dead characters are in the set boosters. Yep. But outside of the Walking Dead characters, there's no like stand-in. They could have done like an Alice in Wonderland or something, but they didn't. They could have done anything they wanted, but they didn't. They just sold Wilds of Eldraine as Eldraine, and it rocks.
And they did Enchanting Tales.
Enchanting Tales, sorry, but they're reprints in there.
Yeah.
You know, there's some anime cards in there, but they're not like, it's not, you see what I'm getting here. It's not like a different IP or something getting involved.
Yeah,
right? It's not like selling
it's
to
not Transformers.
It's not Transformers, and which actually Morrow came forward on Blogatog was saying that they actually felt like that was a bit of a mistake.
Yeah.
They feel like they're introducing the Transformers to this actually took away from the Brothers War story, and I'm like, duh.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy actually when you make giant Transformers. Anyway. And then the most interesting cards of the set, bar none. Anyway, again, that set had the blueprints and all those old artifacts.
Yeah,
just
the
like Wilds of
legendary
Eldraine
artifacts
has
as
the
well.
Enchanting Tales. Why not? That's enough. They learned Wilds of Eldraine, and now we're going to Ixalan, one of the coolest settings in Magic's history. No, in my opinion, the coolest setting in Magic's history. God, I love Ixalan so much. And this new set looks freaking gorgeous. New gods, Journey to the Earth, absolutely great. Do we need Chris Pratt? Do we need Jurassic Park, Jurassic
Well, that's
World?
because they messed up and put Kong and Godzilla in Ikoria.
I think that's fine. They didn't put Kong in Ikoria. Not literally. That's fine though, right? Like they put Hansel and Gretel into Wilds of Eldraine.
Yeah.
Greta, like the Sweet Tooth Scourge. What a cool twist on that. Kogla, the Titanate. What a cool kind of Kong insert. Yeah. That's what you want. I think that's brilliant, right? Like, I would love to see like a whole sub-archetype in this like gigantic carnivorous plants in the new Ikoria set that's like all about like, Jellies of the Earth and those big plants they had.
I honestly thought you were about to say, I would love to like see a commander deck that is just like trope winks.
You know what?
Oh, it's Hansel and Gretel.
Today, yes, I think that's true.
Oh, look, it's Goldilocks.
Read my mind. But here's the thing, right? Like, you can have that. I think you can have that.
Mm.
Yeah. We can have a reprint of every cool dinosaur that's come out, and they do like as if it's a display in a museum. And it's like, and it's got, or maybe it's like a diagram of their skeletal structure, and it's got like lines and stuff. And you have like the new Atali, and it's a reprint of that, and it shows like the Phyrexian and stuff on it, like whatever.
Well, you could even do like a two-sided variants, like the shattered glass and the unshattered glass for Transformers. You could do like just do the Dinosaurs of Magic in a Jurassic Park style park.
Right? But
and then the museum variant is like the chase variant. Anyway,
buy the rights and then make the nods. That's way better than just having like,
Here's Chris Pratt.
What's the one they showed off is like the T-Rex screaming in Jurassic Park 1, right? Towards the end, where it's like what's the line? What's the banner say again? It's like the world that never was. No, it was I can't remember the name. Yeah. There's like that banner that floats down in the shot, and they've actually got that banner. It's like almost shot by shot was from the movie, sorry. And I'm like,
okay.
I can't taste it.
Obviously tense about being a player. For me, I think as a player, I think it's really stressful because I actually really enjoyed Lord of the Rings. I had fun playing Commander with it, to Commander Masters putting a massive strain on me as a player as well, being like, oh, there's cards I want out of this set, but I don't want to buy product for it.
And maybe the company that I am following doesn't even get the game I love.
Yeah.
The game that they didn't make and they took over, they also don't get it. That's what Commander Masters gets to me. Sorry if I'm interrupting. But that's what Commander Masters tells me. Wizards, you don't get it. If you think all these cards are deserving of a Masters set, you missed it. You missed the mark.
And then,
you have no idea.
And then as a player, like, admittedly, it was for something for the store, right? As a store owner, I want to make sure that all my staff are informed of what's happening. So before every set, I create a set brief document in our company intranet that for all of our staff to read so that they know what are like the key things about this set that they need to know and tell you guys as customers or you as players. What are the products that we have? What are the formats or events that are on? What are the stuff to look out for in the set? So what are the like chase cards to look out for? What are the mechanics to look out for? What kind of cycles are you after? Where to find all the different variants of different cards as well, so that they're the most well-informed staff they can be when it comes to a set release. When I was writing the set brief for Wilds of Eldraine, I was progressively getting more and more infuriated every time I looked at it, because I was adding in enchantments from Enchanting Tales that I knew should have been printed in Commander Masters.
Yeah.
So me as a player was getting so frustrated and so, I guess, I don't know how to describe it, like emotionally overwhelmed by the fact that this product that cost 40% more didn't have the staples that are in 40% more of the decks. Rhystic Study I can get out of a $6, $7 booster instead of the $12 booster that is the starting point, I think, for Commander Masters.
Yeah.
Or I think it's $14, I think is the starting point for boosters. That's just so frustrating for me as a player, because honestly, I'm the kind of player that doesn't proxy their decks. So when I play with a deck, I want to have the cards in there, and I don't like shifting them between. And one of the big holdups for me of making more blue decks is I actually really enjoy the blue decks I currently have, and a lot of the staples for blue aren't printed that much. Like the Rhystic Studies, I think Cyclonic Rift was finally printed in this set, but like the strong counter spells take a while to come out and reprinted. So the blue staples or the enchantment staples, even Necropotence was only printed in Enchanting Tales and on Commander Masters, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like these things should have been printed in Commander Masters because they're staples, but now they're being printed in Enchanting Tales in a product that is the regular price for Magic. That means that you had an option to print them in a regular price product, and you instead chose to print half-assed versions in a premium price product.
Yeah, but then that's also like, that doesn't even ring true as far as their philosophy necessarily goes, because Grave Pact was in like the the enchantment deck for Commander Masters.
Yeah.
That's an enchanting tale as well. So if they're going to do that, then just do that.
Just do that. Just admit it. And like, it's just admit it. Just admit it, right?
Yeah.
Just admit that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Or like, I guess there's a layer where it's like, they're transparent about the wrong things. They're transparent about stuff that stresses us out, like death race around the multiverse in 2025 or 6 or whatever.
Like, just be true. Look, everyone knows you're a company, all right? Everyone knows your company. Everyone knows that there are people that work in the company that are people, and a lot of people understand that, right? Obviously, you have psychopaths on the internet because that's how the internet works. But
anyone's allowed on there.
Anyway, unfortunately, everyone can have an opinion and broadcast it to the world.
Disgraceful.
Insane.
Who does? Especially Magic players.
So just admit it, right? And when it comes to... So from a player perspective, stressed. I'm happy with Wilds of Eldraine. Obviously, the power creep is a problem because I lived through the era of Oath of the Gatewatch, where they had to put the brakes on after Tarkir, and the power levels drop in Oath of the Gatewatch were really, really boring and actually dropped me out of Magic until Aether Revolt.
Well, Aether Revolt, what a format.
And the only reason I got into Aether Revolt was because... I started a store.
Yeah.
And then
gosh, that was a format that you need to put the brakes on.
So,
for Sealy Rye Felidar Guardian.
Yeah. The
Can we talk about
the bannings and all that? So from a player perspective, obviously now. From a player perspective, I have that stress. Right? What is coming next? What is Lost Caverns of Ixalan going to look like? Is it going to be overpowered? Is it going to be the same power level as Wilds? It's going to be less as they're kind of overcorrecting back, or they're correcting back a little. Am I going to get stuff in this set that are going to be worthwhile for me to play, or are they going to be holding stuff back for another set? It creates this very stressful questioning situation for me as a player. Now on to owning a store. Holy shit. Commander Masters, I dropped 30% of the stock.
Yeah.
Just straight up. If you're a store owner watching here as well, cool. That's what I did with Commander Masters. What did you do with it? Because I feel sorry not for Wizards or for our players, for our distributors, because WotC doesn't self-distribute anymore. They don't feel this pain. They just hand it off to the distributors and also say charge whatever you want for it, which is a whole nother problem because they don't have an RRP, obviously, because when they up their prices, we just got to calculate our margins and go, well, this is the base margin that we have to charge. And we get customers complaining that our prices are too high. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but we need to maintain a margin because we have a store and we need to pay our staff and we need to have set briefs available for our staff.
And also, importantly, like, we're a huge play space, And that's the thing where it's like, we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of this conversation, I don't think. But I think that a lot of people compare our kind of store to stores that are not brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And they compare our stores to places
like places online running out of a storage shed, which,
exactly.
Vault used to be, by the way. I need to say, Vault used to be an online store that operated out of a storage shed.
Yes.
And we did have prices that were able to do that. But those prices have built up over time because we have bricks and mortar locations. We have staff that we need to pay.
We want to share our passions.
We want to share our passions. We have stuff we need to train as well. All that kind of stuff. And we have overheads. So the baseline margin is essentially unchanged from Magic. If anything, it's gone down a bit. But those prices have gone up. So you need to understand that why those prices have gone up, and it's not because we
are gouging
you, or we got told by WotC, haha, up your prices. WotC told our distributors the prices. Distributors told us the prices that we have to pay them for, and then that's what we have to charge, basically based on that margin. So when Commander Masters rolls around, and it's a product that's 40% higher in cost, right? At our level, that's obviously going to be a high cost for our distributor. And I think it was 2 days before our Commander Masters product got packed and shipped from our distributor. So this was about a week out from preview.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks before release, right? We rang up our supplier and said, we need you to cut 30% of this. These are our numbers now. Now that's a real problem because our numbers for sets need to be in about 2 to 3 months before release. Our numbers for Lost Caverns of Ixalan are already in. Right? And we still don't have marketing material for it to be able to open pre-orders. So for Commander Masters to sit there and go, I'm sorry guys, like a Commander-focused store that we were ordering quite a considerable amount of product, to just say we need to cut 30%, I'm sorry. That, I think, worked out to be this is an estimate. It's not an exact number. I don't think I can tell you exact numbers or that, but it was around $14,000 worth of stock that our distributor was left holding the bag for, because we could not sell it. We couldn't justify stocking it because we saw what our numbers were, we saw what our customer sentiment was, we saw what the online sentiment was, and we saw what the price of these products are, and where we couldn't move on them, and we just went, I'm sorry, this is it. So it not only hurt us, it hurt the people down the line, and the one person it didn't hurt was Wizards.
Yeah. And, again, it's like, that was also, unfortunately, because, we don't want to have to do that kind of stuff, it was still the correct decision to make.
Yeah.
It still turned out to be the correct decision to make, and we still had enough stock for the players who wanted to get stock to get it.
Yeah, and we still have stock from that original purchase.
From the original purchase, which is, if you think about that, that's crazy. This is meant to be the Commander Masters set. They've never done Commander Masters. They've done every other Masters and said, this is just like cards and Magic. And, if you play Commander, it turns out there's a bunch of those, because, especially in context of things like Eternal Masters and Double Masters, where it's like, yeah, it's a Commander set, and you could just say that. They finally said it. They finally said, this is Commander Masters, and what a drop of the hat.
Yeah, and then on Twitter say, who said it was a premium product? So on a live stream, say, who said it was a premium product?
Nobody said those words, okay? We only made it very clear, okay?
I think
nobody said those words.
Set the base price. What are your thoughts, though, now? So we've spoken from players, me from a store owner. What are your thoughts from from a secondary singles management side of things? Because obviously that's your bread and butter for what you do here in the store.
So I think that the most important thing we saw with Commander Masters was that a lot of the original printings of cards did not go down. Yeah. There was a shift in the market. There was a dip. There was obviously the classic kind of bell curve that comes back that you kind of see whenever new sets come out and people are like, oh, well, we're going to try and sell. And then the companies that are buying the cards buy them for a lot less, and they end up trying to sell them for a lot less, and they do, right? And that's an easy way to make a bunch of money during that kind of hype and that kind of press. But the moment the set came out, got into circulation, about the 2 to 3 week margin, prices were shooting straight back up. Outside of the those special etched versions, the textured foils, a lot of the cards sank to the ground that were in the set.
Yeah.
The pre-release prices we saw for Commander Masters were through the absolute roof.
Yeah.
We saw some crazy prices on cards. And, there's a lot of stuff in that set that bevels at around, sits at around $10 to $15. There's a lot of stuff that has, in the context of a 100-card deck, can have considerable value because you put 100, let's say 60, you put 60 $10 cards in your deck, and that's a $600 deck with 4 lands. It's not a small tax on your commander deck, and most people want to play budget around the $150 margin, but we weren't selling those cards like hotcakes. The cards we sold like hotcakes were the borderless foil versions of commons and uncommons that were these super exclusive $6 cards,
like Generous Gift.
Yeah, Generous Gift.
The alternate art Generous Gift. That's a great card.
Great card. And that's a common now. That's a downshift. That's a common now. So, I think that's what people were really excited for. There was, the big mainstays of those kind of sets is, things like Command Tower in the foil borderless treatment. That's, if they didn't put Command Tower in the set, what were they doing? Obviously, they can put that card in the set. But that card is still worth, absolute mozza. That card's still sitting at around the $17 to $20 mark, at least Australian. So it's still worth quite a bit for a Command Tower, which is a 50-cent land if you're lucky. So those have some value. But again, it was just, I feel that if you were gonna, and you know what, I said outside the textured foils, but even they sank quite a lot. They're still worth quite a bit of money, and they're very commander dependent. The card itself matters a lot. But, Selvala goes for a huge amount, but Omnath not so much. But again, our store at least, we didn't see many sales on Commander Masters until well after the drop.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate.
And then, so what about from the state overall then too? What are your feelings heading into now we're in post-WoW, post-Wilds of Eldraine? What are your thoughts? Obviously Lord of the Rings was really good for us in singles because a lot of people really wanted it. And also, surprisingly, even with the price of collector boosters, on the cost for us, we still found a solid constant sales through.
And I was going to say, that's the thing about Lord of the Rings. Bulk rares and bulk mythics in today's economy usually go for anywhere from 50 cents to $1, right?
Yeah.
But Lord of the Rings cards are still around the $3 to $5 mark at a deep minimum.
Yeah.
At a minimum, they're at the $3 to $5 mark because they're not only are they good cards, they have like value to people who you really want them outside of even Magic players. Like there's just something really exciting and engaging about the Lord of the Rings set. And I was really surprised we didn't get Lord of the Rings earlier. Maybe it was something they was working on for many, many years. Like when they first started the Universal Beyond, they were like, we got to make Lord of the Rings work. Let's really focus on that. That's why it took so long. But I'm really surprised we saw the stinkers that were like, the Secret Layers of like Stranger Things and such before we got Lord of the Rings as a set by itself. It's weird that we got like Warhammer 40k structure decks, which those prices absolutely plummeted, just annihilated. You could buy the full Necron deck in non-foil for maybe like $45. Like I think Darkness is like $6 to $10. The Fog in Black, that's the expensive card from that set. You know what I mean? Like absolutely got annihilated. It's funny that we got all of that before we saw this set that really spoke to both Magic as a like art medium, and then also as a mechanical game. It's like song. It like just works so brilliantly. And I think that those cards are a great example of like Lord of the Rings just being a great set, both for the secondary market and again for the primary market. And people were just really wanting those cards and finding space for them in their decks, even at the $3 to $5 range. Whereas you just can't justify buying Commander Masters. And then the thing is, like, even if the cards are, the fact that the cards aren't even worth a lot in Commander Masters is almost like a stab in the heart, because like you want to be able to buy this product and then move the stuff you don't use to the secondary market so you can get new stuff or get some cash to buy more product. You can't convert that really well. You can't convert Commander Master product into Commander Master sealed stuff to get more Commander Master product. You're not supposed to convert it super high. I'm sorry. No. It's supposed to convert low, but it's to the ground low.
Yeah.
Whereas Lord of the Rings is a great set to convert. It's a great set for that. And again, you want the cards you're looking for. That's why pulling boosters is still a thing that exists. I've never, and I'll say this now and I'll say it for a long time, I've never agreed with booster fun. I think booster fun is a really toxic concept. I think collector boosters are one of the worst things that have happened to Magic ever, despite Skull Clamp being nerfed before it came out. We've had some rough stuff, but besides Oko, despite these, I still think collector boosters are the worst thing to exist in this space.
Considering that now the card count from a set has gone from 274-ish to upwards of, I think it's 481 or 2 in Wilds of Eldraine.
Yep. Isn't that crazy that we're hitting the 500 card variant mark?
Even though the set is still 270 cards.
Yeah. And also, who cares about foils anymore? Who cares? We have to have things like your confetti rarity. Like, for those at home who may play other card games, we're talking about just Magic here today, so you may not even be here for this episode right now, but like what's like a Starlight Rare in Yu-Gi-Oh? This is a thing Yu-Gi-Oh introduced a little while ago, which was like this super high premium rare card. It was worth hundreds of dollars a piece. And people were like, yeah, Starlight Rares. And over time, they became less and less exciting. And it was always Starlight Rare. So to give credit where it's due, it's a little bit different in each Magic set. But Starlight Rare, it was like more and more sets came out, more and more Starlight Rares came out, more and more of this happened. And it was like, even the weaker ones were still going for like, anywhere between 100 and 200. And some of the better cards in the format, the defining cards of their decks came in this rarity as well. And it's like, Magic takes that concept and goes, oh, we're going to run with that. We're going to have textured foils. We're going to have exploding, what's some of Duel Masters 2? The one where it's like Commander Legends, what's it called? Jeweled Lotus had one. The exploding...
Frame Break.
Frame Break. Thank you. The Frame Break, like, we're going to have this stuff. We're going to have confetti rare on the exclusive Japanese artist and Asian-inspired art and artists in Wilds of Eldraine. Like, how necessary is this? You wouldn't have to do this thing to make greater rarity. You're in an uphill battle. Like, you wouldn't have to do this if you didn't make collector boosters that then gave everyone a billion jillion rares of everything, foils of everything, and rares of everything. Like, it's not interesting anymore. Like, the fun of opening a really cool mythic or a foil. I remember opening a Modern Masters 2017 booster, right? And my non-foil was Verdant Catacombs. I was like, yes, all right?
Yeah.
And my foil was Sphinx's Revelation. And I was like, it was like ecstasy, bro. It was like heroin. I was like, not that I know what that's like. But like, I was like,
Showcase Ring Fame Sauron? It's Saruman.
Yeah, not Sauron. Or like, it's like, I don't even know.
It just increases the amount of like space for junk.
Yeah, and they have to fill that space with junk.
Yeah.
We got profile arts of Kemba Car Regen. the downshifted uncommon. Oh, Talran Sky Summoner. Really need to
needed
reprint that one
reprint
again.
yeah.
Really need to reprint that one again. Now he has a profile art. So now you can't really tell that his whole deal is summoning Drake. It doesn't even really make any sense because he's just like a dude. Just like a merfolk guy with a hat on. Like, so cool. Like,
So really it's like, please stop doing all these different, like, I guess limit the variants. You don't really need extended art.
Well, is it really saying, are we really saying, oh, please stop this, or, you know, or am I saying, no, what I'm saying is I pity the developers. I pity Wizards. I pity you that you've put yourself in such a hole that we need confetti Asian, F me eyes goose, double season. Like,
Smothering Tithe.
Smothering Tithe in confetti foil. I do not envy the people who are working under your roof, the designers and developers. And I think I also don't want to imply at all that I think anime art is foul or it's like not valid. We're making a lot of jokes here, but that's not all the point I'm making.
No.
I think anime art is really lovely. Again, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! 15 years. That game is Kuma as hell. So I think that's great. And I think that more of that in Magic is also great. I think Kamigawa Neon Dynasty hit it on the head. Mm-hmm. Damn, what a cool bunch of cards that was. And I think it's great to have reprints of classic cards also get that effect. And I think Wilds of Eldraine did that pretty well. It picked some really cool cards. The Rhystic Study. Oh my god!
Actually, look, all the
Rhystic
Enchanting
Study.
Tales art is fantastic.
Aggravated Assault. Something about like a blind character with like a black sheet over their eyes. I don't know what does that for me, but I'm like, that is an epic character. That looks epic to me. That looks super awesome. That no cap. That looks epic. Anyway, the point being is that I just am so sorry that we're here, that you can't sell your product without Confetti Res and Chris Pratt. I'm so sorry that we've got to this point.
And there's the line. There's the name. I'm so sorry that you can't sell without Confetti Res and Chris Pratt. I think we found the name of the episode.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we're going to have to finish up there because we've been talking for well over an hour on this. So
I just wanted to cut in with one more thing, just to kind of leave the episode on a good note. If you guys could, put a Magic product into development, like in the next year or two, which one would you do? Because I know I would choose a second Battle Bond set.
You took my answer, I think. I think Battle Bond's sick. I love Two-Headed Giant. I think it's such a cool set, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're foreshadowing something that we haven't been told about. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a sneaky, like, in 2025, they're like, we didn't mention this.
See, I thought your answer was going to be different.
Yeah.
I thought yours was going to be something about, taking crowns.
Yeah, look, Conspiracy's amazing. I think having the unique draft cards has always been really, really cool. But I do, honestly, I think
doing a two-headed giant draft in Battle Bond was also really rad.
If I could make any set, it's not Battle Bond. That's there. That's up there. That's because I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's up there. That's in my brain now. It would have to be, I want to see a new Planar Chaos set. I want to see a new Time Spiral set or a new, like, What If set. Yeah. I want to see, like, genuinely, like, what would happen in this situation? What would happen here? What if Ral Zarek was a Phyrexian Planeswalker?
What if we gave red card draw?
Yeah, I want to see. I like the mechanical thing where it's like, you give the white their own Rhystic Study or whatever. Like, I mean, they tried that a couple of times.
And for some reason, they just put Steamflogger Boss in again.
Why not? But the point being is that I just want to see a cool set where it's like, what if, I'm going to go, like, Phyrexian's on the mind at the moment, but, like, what if, like, Zakama got the one who was, like, completed? And Etali was fine, right? That kind of stuff. I want to see, like, what if, like, Nico Bolas wasn't defeated, right? What if Sarkhan was turned into an Eternal? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. I want to see that kind of stuff. Just that would be so cool to me. And I understand why we don't go into that too much. Amass Slivers. We don't go into that too much.
It's
but,
not
like,
canon.
I want to see if we're going to do that anyway.
Yeah,
don't do it on the don't do it on the nose. Do it. That's what I would love to see.
And I mean, there is wiggle room because with all the Brothers War, all be one time, why-me shenanigans and whatever, and planar phasing over other phases and stuff.
We're also getting Doctor Who to
exactly. We've got enough sort of time bollocks to play with that could be an actual thing of like, oh, we've accidentally reopened another time rift in the edge of the universe, and
yeah,
even somehow even Emrakul might just break out of the moon and be like, oh, there's actually a time rift. Or
dude, what if the Eldrazi were present whatsoever during the invasion of Phyrexia?
Yeah.
What if that happened? You know what I mean? Like, just so cool. I want to, sorry, one last point on the left turn as well. I just want to say, Doctor Who is getting collector boosters. Excuse me, right? And they're getting collector boosters with, like, alternate art and everything and all this cool stuff. And it's like,
For the cards that already exist in the decks, by the way.
Yeah, they're only the cards that already exist in the decks, right? And I think that's amazing. I actually love that, right? I think it's dangerous for a storefront like ours to stock that kind of product because like we have to explain to people like, yeah, it's stuff you're guaranteed to get in the deck. There's no booster fun. There's no like chances are you're going to not get these cards ever. It's like, no, buy the deck, you'll have it, right?
Yeah.
Where was that for Warhammer? Dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine data
like,
sheets?
No. Even better. Mini assembly instruction variants.
Right? Like, what
Commit
about
to it? I'm putting Abaddon together.
The unique frame is their data sheet. And it's got like...
It's the assembly instructions of Abaddon.
You could do sprue art.
Like, you could legitimately take photos of the miniatures like painted by the heavy metal team. And it's like these gorgeous, beautiful miniatures with like, you know, in that kind of like weird kind of out of focus background zoom where it's like just that miniature, really high fidelity.
On their primo terrain with that one LED multicolor par.
Dude, and like, or like get the Pound Tabletop team coming with their fog, like the smoke machine. Like, can you think about it?
Yeah. That'd be great.
Come on.
That'd
like,
be good.
What if it was like the Horus Heresy and it was that classic like art of like Horus standing over the dead Sanguinius with the Emperor, like that
like
classic
the remembrance art where it's like very like high gothic and just
very high gothic, and that's like in a borderless frame. Like right. Like
Wizards. You can have that one for free.
Like you're gonna do this.
You've already done the licensing.
You're gonna do this for Doctor Frickin' Who? I love Doctor Who as much as the next person, but Doctor Who? You couldn't do it for Warhammer 40k? I don't know. Anyway, that's me. What would you like to make, Taylor?
All right. Out of left field, it's still Magic related, and obviously it's
Charmander.
It's Charmander. No, it's Magic related. I actually want to see more written work of the Magic D&D crossover books. I know this. I know that's really out of left field.
Yep.
It may be because I'm reading a lot of them working on something, but honestly, if there was a plane shift new Phyrexia, there is a plane shift Ixalan.
No, like a real, like I'm talking Guildmaster's Guide.
Oh, you're talking like a full book?
Yeah, is that what you're talking about?
No, I would be down for full books, but even just the plane shift PDFs are fine for me.
Bro, they own both companies.
I know.
They own both. Make the full book. Guildmaster's Guide to Ixalan. Guildmaster's Guide to Phyrexia. Guildmaster's Guide to everything.
Yeah.
Guildmaster's Guide to
You did Strixhaven, you've done Theros. Yes. Mythic Odysseys of Theros is probably one of the funnest books I've ever read for D&D. Yeah, just because of how much it adds to backgrounds.
So cool.
The Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica.
Heliod is lawful good in that book, by the way. Heliod is lawful good in that book.
Lawful good, my ass.
Based.
Yeah, based.
Heliod did nothing wrong.
That's his outward appearance.
Yeah.
What else have we done? We've done Strixhaven, Mythics. We've done Guildmasters. Is there one more?
I really think that's it, bro.
Wow.
Because they did like a bunch of plane shifts.
There's a plane shift Zendikar, plane shift Innistrad, plane shift Ixalan, plane shift Kaladesh, I believe.
Is there a Zendikar, or did you just say that?
There is
that one, yeah. I don't know if there's a plane shift Amonkhet. I think there is floating around, but I think that may be the last one they did.
I'm not sure. I think there's definitely a fan one I read.
I think I might have that one actually.
Yeah.
The plane shift Amonkhet.
But I would love to see plane shift Lorwyn. I would love to see plane shift Eldraine. I would love to see plane shift New Phyrexia before it got blitzed.
Was it Bloomburrow? What's the new one?
Yeah, Gloomburrow.
Gloom?
No, Bloomburrow. Yeah, it's Bloomburrow.
Yeah, give me that on plane shift.
Yeah, it's pretty much just
the root RPG.
The root RPG. But yeah, like these plane shift PDFs were fantastic elements to just add into D&D campaigns.
Yeah. And nobody knows about a PDF online. I'm sorry. Like, you have to really go digging for it to find the PDF online.
I only have them because the Wizards updated their website. I don't know if you can still get them.
Oh, look at that. Amazing.
I have them because I made sure I downloaded all of them and put them to a Google Drive. Like, these are...
Link me. Please link me.
They're great. They're fantastic editions, and they're not full books in the sense of, well, here's what a crab does. It's just like, here's a list of all the creatures on this plane. Here's about 2 different monster manual stat blocks that you can match up to it and just say, this is a Hedron crab rather than this is just a crab.
Yeah.
Or
no, I don't give them any wiggle room.
Yeah.
Full books,
I riot. Full books, bestiary.
Speaking of Ravnica,
class options and backgrounds, please.
All of the drawings.
Dude.
You know what?
They own both companies.
You know what? I'm fine if you just add in one extra class. Like, what is it? Like, Fizzbands had like 3 class variants, and that was it. Like,
Bro, Critical Role has extra classes.
Yeah.
Just do it.
What if they just actually codify like a planeswalker like subtype?
you can't do that. That's a god.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That's level 20. That's ridiculous.
Well, I mean,
Rock
how
out
dare
in
you
the
say
club.
such things?
What? Hey.
Sorry, Connor.
Between the mending and the sparks being pulled away and the powers of those
pruning.
planeswalkers going down, right? You could have a planeswalker, like a desparked planeswalker, like stat block. That could be a real thing.
Absolutely.
Or even right, just a post-mending planeswalker block.
They're
where
just
it's
like level 10 adventurers.
Yeah, that kind of. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but you can have something that feels like you could have settings that start you off as level 10 adventurers, and or when you get to level 10, you can pick this thing or whatever you want to look at, and then you go maybe the level 1 to 20, and the 20 is almost like level 30. I don't know. Like it's such an open system. It's literally they call it OGL for a reason. But like,
Cool. All right. So, Watsy,
yes,
you can have that one for free too, or just call us and
yeah.
we'll have some ideas for you.
Just sponsor
We want
us.
20%.
You sponsor everyone nowadays, guys. Like, come on, why not us? We just like shit talk to you for an hour.
We just told you how bad of a company you are, and you know what? We've spent an hour talking about how much we despise Commander Masters, how stressful we feel about the game, how crazy we're thinking about the future for Magic, and how we're concerned about elements of it, and like all these cool ideas that it should be doing. And at the end of the day, I'm still gonna
love the game.
I'm still
Oh
gonna
my
play this
God,
shit.
yeah.
I'm hooked in.
Dude, 100%.
I'm
Put it
gonna
in my
be here.
veins.
I'm gonna be here playing it. I'm gonna be at every Pauper EDH. Not every because I have a kid now, but I'm gonna be as many Pauper EDH nights as I can.
I'll be there.
I'm gonna be playing Commander with my friends as much as I can. Like, I love this game. I love this product. That's the key too. Is it's not just I love the game. I love the product and I love what they do and I want it to be better.
Well, this is why we don't proxy out X.
This is why we don't proxy
we
out
love
X.
the product.
We love the product.
I love the experience that the product affords me.
Yes.
And if you're playing if you're using Commander Master's product, the affording thing is not much.
Not much, yeah.
But yeah, I think that pretty much just wraps up for our show today.
Twice now.
Yeah, we'll actually wrap it up now.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you want to hear more from us here at the From the Vault podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel, get the bell on to get notified every time a new video goes live here. I hope you like the new format. We're kind of just vibing with it and seeing where we're going with this now with some new gear, new setups, new editing techniques. And yeah, we're just going to see where this takes us. And if you like it, join us. And join the Discord server too. The link is down below in the description.
Yes.
We love talking Magic.
Yeah. I'm on there all the time. I stalk it. I chat with people. I'm down for playing. Yeah, Spell Table even. Get involved. 100%.
Yeah, get involved.
Maybe we'll even have a Patreon soon with enough subscribers.
We'll see.
Why not?
Maybe. We need more subscribers.
People like Patreon.
People like Patreon. So if you want
Especially you.
Yeah. So if you want to see us have a Patreon or even make some merch for some reason.
We would make merch, by the way. Stop saying for some... This man is so...
That's what I'm saying for some reason. Because that reason is we need you to subscribe.
Yes. Subscribe
Because
to
we're
the
not going to
channel.
do it until you subscribe.
Ring the bell, like, we love you all.
Comment
Thank you.
below.
And importantly, so thank you for making all this possible as well, because
Yes.
we wouldn't do this without you. Thank you, Connor, for being behind the work today. Connor is helping us a lot by running all the cameras, helping out with
cheers,
all the audio and
guys.
such.
Yeah. And a little extra thing, if you want to leave a comment, let us know what is your favorite Magic set and why. And, Trent and I will have a look through, Connor and I, all three of us will have a look through. And, the one that we like the best out of all three of us, I'll pin it on the video.
Yeah.
Pin the comment.
Maybe
So-
we even talk about it next episode, hey? Maybe even bring it up next episode. Have a little opening segment where we talk about a comment. You know what?
Exactly.
I'm down for that.
So, get on there. Let us know your favorite set and why. I think that's it.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe. Wash your goddamn hands. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.